bottom line of it all is that we are following very carefully the durability of protection.
Countries like Israel and Iceland, who have a high vaccination rate and much earlier than the United States started vaccinating, and are now seeing a swath of breakthrough cases.
I will show here that every green passport will fade.
You get below a certain threshold, that triggers a recommendation to get a booster.
Why would you give another dose of something which is already proving to be ineffective against this Delta variant? It doesn't make any sense. But just from an immunology perspective, it doesn't make any sense. My source of information for the slides, at least for the slides, also for the information, because I studied from this book, which I highly recommend it. It's a great book about immunobiology from Janeway. When you get vaccinated or exposed to a pathogen, a virus, then your immune system reacts to it for the first time. So over a week or so, initial antibodies are developed against the invader, and two things happen. One is that the affinity of the antibodies grows, so they become more specific for an exact shape. So let's say that this is the original shape that you need to catch. So let's say this is good enough. See, this is good enough. And then it mutates. It's called affinity maturation. And some of the antibodies that develop bind slightly better. Some bind from here, some bind from here, some bind like this. So you develop an array of possible options to capture this invader. And the second thing is that the cells that produce these antibodies multiply. So they are able to produce more antibodies in a shorter time. And this is what we see here. See how the concentration grows with every immunization or exposure to the pathogen. Antibody level, antibody affinity. The immune response learns how to deal with not only with the current threat, the immune system learns to deal with the current threat, and also it is optimized in such a way that this initial response contains as much diversity as it can. So I'm not saying it's optimal, but definitely wants to have a diverse array of weapons against future infections. Now, with every exposure to a new variant of the virus, even slight mutation may shift the profile of the response. So you move from something like this to something like this to something like this to something like this. And then years later, when you encounter, next year, when you encounter something which is very different even from the original, you have evolved a repertoire of antibodies capable of quickly going through affinity maturation and destroying this target, hopefully. And that means that your immune system works well and that you didn't die. The immune system wants to deal with the current threat and to be in a good position to deal with future threats, because mutation is a natural thing in nature. Just on the most basic level, why the vaccine passport is not the best idea. Let's say that you get vaccinated in blue and you feel you are safe, or maybe you are safe against the normal virus, right? Ignore the name. You're safe against the normal virus. And those in red have not been vaccinated and are at risk of being infected. Now, that's traditionally what getting vaccinated means, that you would not be infected. Now, as the virus mutates, it can create escape variants. So V, wild type, and V, escape variant. By definition, the escape variant can avoid the immune response which the vaccine elicits. It's an escape variant, otherwise it would be just a variant. So we know this is quite possible. Something like this happens and you have an escape variant, and a population which felt completely safe, and it was completely safe against the original virus, none of these dangerous people. When the virus mutates, it is entirely unvaccinated against it. You can say, well, previous exposure must give you some protection. And indeed it must, but if you keep getting vaccinated against the same thing, and this is really my point, which is that if you go through the infections normally, or the vaccine is updated regularly and in a timely manner, and manufactured and is safe and everything is good, then you first get exposed to this would be the first vaccine, the specific vaccine. So this would be vaccine A1. Okay? Now, as the virus changes, vaccinating with this again, the virus is already something like this. So when you vaccinate against this, you're actually potentially taking away from the natural ability of the body to respond correctly to the updated strains, because you keep exposing them to something which is outdated. Because you're basically telling the immune response, right? Respond against this. This is what we have. Respond against this. Just keep responding. Like, see this. Now this may be sufficiently different. Maybe not. But if it is sufficiently different, then you're fucked, because your immune system is responding to this. Because it sees some similarity, but it needs completely different. Not completely different. It needs a renovated repertoire. And that is what the immune system does in normal conditions. You see the virus every year, and you develop along with the virus. Now what you do here is you just keep telling it it's 2001, now it's 2002. Yeah, still it's 2001. Now it's 2010 and you're still, 2001. 2001 doesn't, it actually not only doesn't protect you, it actually makes you sort of confused, your immune system, sort of confused about what to respond against. Because you're showing me this shape, right? Which you said, okay, this is the target, this is the target, this is the target. Now the virus has evolved, and I'm still able to respond against this. But now the virus is like this, right? And now I need a completely different. I need like something like this, like a, how do you call them? Clamp. So kind of either let nature take its course, or work better, be better, update the vaccines when they need updating, and they seem to need updating, and then vaccinating with this against the Omega variants to end them all. I believe that vaccinating against previous strains is, especially after a person has already been exposed to this, so he already knows how to do this. So it's not like a first vaccine. A first vaccine is something else. You just need to... The first vaccine may be important. The first vaccine gives you an introduction to a new shape, totally new shape, let's say. So you have a novel strain, a completely different challenge to the immune system. You vaccinate with it, okay. Now this thing changes. It's good that you have the basic understanding, the immune system has the basic understanding of how to catch this shape. But now it needs to evolve with the shape. Just giving it like a reminder of the previous shape is actually preventing it from learning. Paradox. So, 50 Shades of Grey. Yeah, if you have an escape variant, you move from here, which is great. Here, boop. You move from being totally safe to being 100% not safe. Now there are shades, obviously, because during this evolution process, the vaccine will become less and less effective. So I would say that people who have been vaccinated half a year ago against some virus. I think people are saying it, so I can say it, right? So if they get another shot of the vaccine, they would definitely have more antibodies now, right? But even then, they will get infected. So this virus passes the vaccine. I mean, it's safe to say. Okay, I think I'm done. Thank you for listening. Send it to everyone who's interested. Don't send it to people who are not interested.
Al-Majid tuvo una buena predicción.
Gracias. If you subscribe to this channel, then I will have more than 3 subscribers. That's about it. Thank you very much. Have a great fight.